Tonight on America's Hope, how do the actions of the UN and the World Health Organization affect the sovereignty of America? And on the campaign trail, how large is the issue of the U.S. economy? America's Hope starts now.
This is America's Hope from our global headquarters in New York City. Here's Kelly Wright.
From the NTD Global Headquarters in New York, I'm Kelly Wright, and this is America's Hope. Good evening. Thank you for joining us this hour. We do hope that you're safe and well, taking care of yourself and your family because you matter. When it comes to America, one thing that matters is our sovereignty, having control over how we live as a nation and how we are represented throughout the world. Yet there are people with an alarming concern about actions being taken by the United Nations as well as the World Health Organization. We're going to talk to Reggie Littlejohn about that tonight, and then we'll shift to focus on the U.S. economy because it is one of the big issues on the campaign trail as we approach November 5th and the election of a new president. Christian Briggs will talk to us about where we stand in terms of our growth as a nation economically. Let's get started. We're joined now by a guest who's no stranger to America's Hope. She is Reggie Littlejohn, who is the president of Anti-Globalist International. And Reggie, who has been a frequent guest on our program, has kept us up to date in terms of what's happening with the World Health Organization and why it matters, and why, as Americans, we should be concerned about the WHO and what it intends to do and what it has been trying to do globally, but also how that would impact America. Reggie, bring us up to date. You're that expert for us following the developments unfolding within the World Health Organization. Bring Americans up to date in terms of why we should be concerned about its practices and what it intends to do in the future.
Okay, so there's two things going on, Kelly. There's the World Health Organization, which actually has some good news, which I'll tell you about. And then there's also the United Nations, where there's a huge impending threat coming up this weekend. So with respect to the World Health Organization, the current status is that they passed amended international health regulations on June 1st, and they deferred the pandemic treaty. So they're still negotiating that. But even just with the international health regulation amendments, they have given themselves the authority to basically establish a biotech surveillance police state through requiring nations to surveil their citizens, censor so-called misinformation and disinformation, which is anything that is counter-narrative. And when you control the narrative, you control basically everything. And then establishing an international standardized digital paper, but health ID, like a vaccine passport, which this international interoperable ID can give rise to China's social credit system. It's really the precursor to it.
So I got to jump in here because if all of this is going on in front of us, what is our United States Congress and the Biden administration doing to address this rising issue going on within the World Health Organization?
Well, the Biden-Harris administration is pushing it. Okay,
pushing for the passage of this.
Pushing for the passage of it. It already did pass. I mean, it passed. This portion passed in June, and they were one of the biggest supporters. Said they were very happy that it passed. But the United States Congress, specifically the House of Representatives, just this past week, they passed a bill, and it's called the No WHO Pandemic Preparedness Treaty Without Senate Approval Act. All right, and what it means is that the House, according to the House of Representatives, that even the one that they passed, the one that I told you is so terrible that could establish a biotech police state, that can't become effective in the United States without Senate approval. And as you and others who follow me know, I have been advocating for this for years, together with other members of the Sovereignty Coalition. So this is a great victory. We celebrated it yesterday, or actually last week. at a congressional press conference that I spoke at on Capitol Hill, and it's a wonderful thing. It has not passed the Senate yet. It has not